type of tone that's going to be in this essay?
Maybe like a teacher.
Like a teacher, what do you mean by that?
Like someone trying to talk to somebody.
Someone trying to talk to someone? Okay, so remember, we're trying to find the argument, right? We're learning about what makes a good argument. So there's 4 components that we're going to look for, but before we go into that, I'm going to have us read as a group. Let's go this way, and let's take on each paragraph, okay? You can start with Dear Mom.
Dear Mom and Dad, if you came across an easy way for your child to improve her grades while having fun making smart life choices, you would turn it down. But would you turn it down? Of course not. The answer is an easy one. Clearly, you should allow me to join jazz or choir this year.
First of all, being in jazz choir will be convenient. Jazz choir means after school, so you will be happy to know that I will not have to drop anything on my other classes and make work with my schedule. You will be thinking that an after school activity means you need to pick me up from school 2 days a week, but you don't need to work. Jazz choir, confidentially, conveniently,
Keep going.
ends just in time for me to take the activity lesson. You might view the cost of jazz choir as a downside, but compared to how I would spend my time otherwise, jazz choir is inexpensive.
Let him try.
If I join jazz choir, many of my Saturdays will be spent rehearsing and performing. Normally, I will spend my Saturdays playing a ski, swim, or see a movie. When you add those costs, jazz choir is
Second of all, joining jazz choir will be beneficial. You might argue that another activity would negatively affect my schoolwork, but the opposite is true. According to the National Association of Music Education, multiple studies have proven that music is a positive effect on academic achievement. Students who are involved in music programs receive higher scores on tests than students who are not involved in music. Additionally, I have proven myself to be a dedicated student. I have never once turned in an assignment late or incomplete. I know how to plan ahead of meet due dates, and my grades would be only benefit from joining jazz choir.
Most importantly, jazz choir will help me have fun and build friendships with good kids. You know how much I love to sing. Rehearsing and performing with jazz choir will make me a truly happy teenager, and I am excited to join. Furthermore, Mr. Goldman, our school counselor, explained to us that students who participate in after-school programs are less likely to make bad life choices. For example, students who are involved in after-school programs like jazz choir are less likely to smoke, use drugs, or get arrested. You already know that I make good life choices, but if I am in jazz choir, you will also know that I'm spending my after-school hours with friends who also make good choices.
It is obvious that you should let me join jazz choir. Joining jazz choir is convenient, beneficial, and fun. My opportunity to join jazz choir is a gift that should not be taken for granted. With love, Jennifer. Okay, so I want you to take about 30 seconds so to look at your own partner. And I want you to talk if you are convinced by this person's argument. And what is their argument? Go ahead. Are you convinced by it?
Oh,
Yeah.
what makes it I am convinced that she showed evidence and also provided someone from her school.
Better life choices, yeah. Okay, so let's bring it back. Okay, so how we're gonna dissect this letter is I want you to turn to the back of the page, okay? Just like what I did on the board, I'm gonna do with you all in a small group, okay? So the first thing we need to be able to do, or if you first look at the structure, it stems from the claim and then it breaks out into smaller pieces, right? So I want you to think about it as sort of like a pyramid. You have to have a foundation and you have to have pieces that lead up to it, okay? So the opinion and the claim, okay, is essentially what they're trying to get across. What's the message Jennifer is trying to get across?
To let her join jazz choir.
To let her join jazz choir. Why do you think that is? What convinced you that that is her reasoning?
Because in her letter, in the introduction, she states she wants to join jazz choir.
She wants to join the jazz choir. So that was pretty obvious, right? Typically, your claim is going to come up more than once, okay? So on your paper, I want you to write that she wants to join the jazz choir. Go ahead and write that down. So that's every time we think about supporting evidence, we always come back to make sure it supports her claim of joining the jazz choir, okay? Okay, everybody? Perfect. Okay, now we have main reasons, okay? Now that we have this claim, what are the reasons why she should join? What makes it convincing? So let's look for number one. Christian, can you tell us where you found one?
So instead of wasting your time on weekends, she could be rehearsing for jazz.
Which paragraph is this?
The first one.
Okay, so first paragraph, can you underline where you see it and then show everyone where? Underline that specific reason so we can all see it.
Wait. Yeah.
So she says, normally I would spend my Saturdays paying to ski, swim, or see a movie. When all those cost, jazz choir is a deal. So what does that mean?
That means that instead of wasting your time doing skis, swimming, and seeing a movie on the weekends, it also costs more too.
It costs more. So jazz choir would actually be convenient. So if we all look at the first line, and typically in a clear, precise argument, it's going to be in the first the first to second line in the beginning paragraph, okay? So here, it's being that it's more convenient, right? Perfect. So as you find the first one, I want you to work with your partner to find the second and the third one. You'll find the second and the third one. So let's check in once everyone figured it out. And we will go over why. Remember, it's always typically in the first or second sentence, okay? So Christina is done. Did you and Ayana have the same? Okay. Now, the last two big parts of a strong argument is making sure that we can also support our reasons, right? So if we look at this diagram, let's start with the first, let's do the second example, okay? So Christina, can you tell us what the second reason is?
The second reason is it will be beneficial.
Okay, so from where she claims that she wants to join jazz band, she mentions that it's going to be beneficial, right? Now we need to find evidence that supports it being beneficial, okay? So let's see if we can find supporting facts to support the fact that it's going to be beneficial.
So when
So let's look. It would be in the second body paragraph because that's where it says it's beneficial. The second sentence, you might argue that another activity would negatively affect my schoolwork, but the opposite is true. Okay, so why do you think the third one is a good fact?
Because it's stating that the National Association.
It's stating from a source.
It's stating from a source, exactly. So when you are backing things up, you always need to have a source, okay? So I want everyone to make sure they underline that part, the National Association of Music Education. Perfect. Okay, so that's one example, okay? I'm gonna leave the other two for you so you can fill out, and I wanna make sure you get a chance to practice that. But as we wrap up, let's figure out the conclusion, okay? What do I mean by conclusion? What does conclusion mean? To wrap up on your ideas. Analyze. Okay, restate your thesis. So without looking at the text right now, what do you think the conclusion of this letter would be? Ayana, what do you think that conclusion would be? Without looking at it, just from what we know about this letter.
I think the conclusion will be